Picture our planet 4.5 billion years ago. Not the vibrant blue marble we know today, but a hostile, alien world. Fiery volcanoes constantly erupt, spewing gases into a toxic atmosphere. Meteorites relentlessly bombard the surface, and a weak sun offers little warmth. The oceans are a murky, chemical-rich broth. In this seemingly desolate landscape, a question hangs in the air. How did life begin? How did non-living matter make the incredible leap to become the first living organism? This is the story of our planet's greatest miracle. Welcome, and today we re-journeying back to the dawn of time to explore one of science's most profound mysteries, abiogenesis, the origin of life from non-life. For life to start, you need the right ingredients and the right conditions. Imagine early Earth as a planet-sized chemistry lab. The atmosphere was a mix of methane, ammonia, water vapor, and hydrogen, with almost no oxygen. The oceans were a warm, dilute soup containing dissolved minerals and simple carbon compounds washed down from the atmosphere by constant rain. Energy was everywhere. Not just from the young sun, but from massive volcanic eruptions and countless lightning strikes electrifying the sky. This primordial soup theory was famously tested in 1952 by scientists Stanley Miller and Miller-Urey. They recreated the conditions of early Earth in a closed system of flasks and tubes. They filled it with the presumed atmospheric gases, added water to simulate the ocean, and then sparked it with electrodes to mimic lightning. What they found was astonishing. After just a week, the clear water had turned a murky brown. An analysis revealed something incredible: the formation of amino acids. Why is this so significant? Because amino acids are the fundamental building blocks of proteins, the molecular machinery that does almost all the work inside our cells. The Miller-Urey experiment proved that the basic components of life could arise naturally from simple, non-living chemicals under the conditions of early Earth. Subsequent experiments have produced not only more amino acids, but also nucleotides, which are the building blocks of our genetic material, DNA and RNA. The raw materials for life weren't a miracle. They were a predictable outcome of planetary chemistry. But having a pile of bricks doesn't automatically build a house. The next crucial step was for these simple molecules to link up and form more complex structures. More importantly, something needed to be able to make copies of itself. This is the essence of life: replication. This leads us to one of the most compelling ideas in Origin of Life. Research, the RNA World hypothesis. We often think of DNA as the master molecule of life, holding the blueprint, but DNA is complex and needs a whole suite of proteins to replicate. RNA, its molecular cousin, is a bit of a jack of all trades. Like DNA, it can store genetic information, but crucially, some types of RNA, called ribozymes, can also act like enzymes, catalyzing chemical reactions, including their own replication. So, the theory goes that in the primordial soup, an RNA molecule emerged that could make copies of itself. It wasn't perfect. Errors or mutations would occur. Most would be duds, but occasionally A mutation would create a slightly better or more stable replicator. Through this primitive form of natural selection, these self-copying RNA molecules became more efficient and complex over millions of years. Life had found a way to perpetuate itself. Now we have self-replicating molecules, but they're still just floating freely in the soup, vulnerable and inefficient. The final key step towards a true cell was containment. This happened with the formation of the first membranes. The oceans were full of fatty molecules called lipids. These lipids have a unique property. One end is attracted to water, and the other end is repelled by it. When agitated, they naturally self-assemble into tiny bubbles or spheres called vesicles. This is something you can see in your own kitchen if you shake oil and vinegar together. Imagine one of these lipid bubbles trapping a few of those self-replicating RNA molecules inside. Suddenly, you have a protocell. The membrane protects the precious genetic material, keeps the building blocks concentrated, and creates a stable internal environment, a tiny little pocket of order in a chaotic world. This was the birth of individuality. These protocells weren't just collections of chemicals anymore. They were the first ancestors of all life on Earth. They could grow, they could replicate, and they could evolve. From these humble beginnings, the journey of life exploded. Over billions of years, these simple protocells evolved into the first true bacteria learned to harness the sun's energy through photosynthesis, and eventually gave rise to the breathtaking diversity of life we see today, from the smallest microbe to the largest whale, including us. So, when you look up at the stars or down at the grass beneath your feet, remember this incredible story. We are the descendants of a primordial soup, sparked by lightning, organized by RNA, and sheltered by a simple bubble of fat. We are a direct continuation of an unbroken chain of life stretching back nearly 4 billion years. The story of how life began is not just a scientific theory. It is the story of every living thing on this planet. It is our story. Thanks for joining this journey back in time. If you found this as mind-blowing as I do, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more explorations into the wonders of our universe. See you next time.